Hi everybody, this is going to be how to play backgammon. This is the second video. If you've watched my first video, I literally approached it as if you had never seen a backgammon board before. If you're coming to this video and you're brand new to backgammon, I suggest you stop and go back and watch. This is video 2, which is going to assume that you've seen that first video and are now looking to get into deeper strategies. Now, I have other videos on how the doubling cube works, best opening moves, how to end the game, and strategies. I hope you'll keep watching all the videos in this series. My goal here is to take you from a beginning backgammon player all the way to expert with my series of videos. It will require you to just keep watching each video. And like I say in every video, I over-explain myself. So if you've seen my cribbage videos, if you've seen my canasta videos, if you've seen any videos of mine, you know I over-explain things, and I will get you playing at the end of this series. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Give me a like while you're at it. So let's go ahead and get into game 2. I'm the white players here. The opponent is black. In my first video, I explained this setup. I've had people say to me, that's not how I set it up. Well, perhaps you've been playing a variation of a backgammon game, or perhaps you've been wrong. This is how a backgammon board is set up. 2 here, 5 here, 3 here, 5 here. I am whites. I am trying to take these around into my home quadrant here, where I will then be able to take them all off. And my opponent is starting here, making this C, trying to get him into his home quadrant here, where he will then begin taking his off. Each person begins by rolling 1 dice. The person who rolls the highest actually takes that move. I was the one who rolled the 3, so therefore I get to take a 3 and a 2. And I am going to get into some more basic strategies as we do this. 3 and a 2 doesn't necessarily have a slam dunk opening move. There are some people who like to play aggressive and move these men first just to get them out, since these are the men that ultimately are the hardest to get out. Because you can't move one man 5 because of you can't land on that 5, some people move it a 3 and a 2, hoping that they're laying themselves up to get both men out perhaps on the next move. Another option would be to move just one of these men 5. It's the safest move because it doesn't leave an exposed man. Now, one of the reasons people do like to leave an exposed man here and take this 3 and 2 is because even if they were to be taken off the board, they would only be coming back into this same opening quadrant. So it's not a big loss. Obviously, if you were to move, say, these men 3 and 2, you can't move it 5 because of this, but if you were to move one of these 3 and 2 and you were taken off, you would be sent so far back that you're at a disadvantage. So one of the simple strategies is if you're going to have to leave an exposed man, try to leave the exposed man in the closest to the very beginning that you're going to be sent back to, so it's not so much of a loss. Being hit here is more painful. For the sake of just keeping things simple, I'm going to play safe and move one man 3 and then at 2, and it keeps all of my men safe. My opponent gets a 4 and a 1, and he moves one of these 4, which is this one, and one of these 1. Now, was it smart for him to move one of these 4? In my opinion, absolutely not, because it's exposed. So now I rolled double 1s, and there's a few options you can take. One of my favorite double 1 rolls would be to move 2 of these 1 and 2 of these 1. And what it creates is sort of a barrier of 4, almost like a mini wall that's going to make it hard for him to get by here. However, because he's left a man exposed, which I know will send him all the way back here, which is pretty far, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, take him off, and then I might as well move another one. I'm not risking that much if they come back and take me off because I'm already in my farthest quadrant. So he rolls a 6 and a 2. He gets on the board with this 2. Remember, he cannot get on the board with the 6 because of that, and he moved a man. Lo and behold, I was lucky enough to roll doubles. So I'm able to move 4 men 6. Well, this man can move 1 6, but he can't really move 2 6 because that would put him there. This guy could move several 6s. He could move 1 6, which would be here, and 2 6s, which would be here. But he can't move 3 6s because that would be there. And just to go ahead and talk about the other moves, these guys could move. These guys here cannot move at all because the 6s would be there. And these guys here could not move at all because to move a 6 would put them off the board. So I'm going to move ahead and move these guys, 1 6, which takes him off, and 2, which protects that man there. Now I still have 2 6s. So what I'm going to do is I might as well move this guy 6 and move this guy 1 more 6, which protects him, and that's my 4 6s. So let's go ahead and let's see what he does. Well, he gets on the board with double twos. He gets on the board with a 2, and he's able to move 3 more 2s, which is nice. Now it's my turn. What I'd say is, from a strategy point of view, he left another exposed man. However, I didn't get a 3 to take him off again. I did, however, get a 6 and a 1. And so this is interesting because there's very few things I can do. Coming back here, I can't move that 6. I could move this one 6, but I can't move the other piece 1 because of that. So it would leave an exposed man. I could move this one 6 and get it out, but I really can't move it 1 and it wouldn't go very far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move your piece past your opponent's last man. They can't go backwards to take you off. So I'm going to move that guy 6. And notice that he's here. He is past my opponent's last man, which is here. My opponent isn't going to be able to take me off by going backwards. The only way he would be able to take that man off now would be I'd have to take a man off the board, and he would have to come back on the board with a 1. So since I'm exposed here with this 1, I might as well move that 1. My opponent 5 and 3. So he managed to take me off with the 5 and then move a man for 3, which makes a point on the 1 there, which blocks me. So now it's my turn. I have to get on the board with either a 6 or a 2. I cannot get on the board with a 6 because of that. So I have to get on the board with a 2. And now I can move something 6. This one cannot move 6 because it would be there. This cannot move 6 because it would be on top of and obviously these can't move 6. I suppose I could move this 6 and it would cover up that man, but it would leave the 1 man exposed. The alternative is to move this one of these 6, but it also leaves a man exposed. Since I'm forced to leave a man exposed no matter what I do, I might as well move that 6 and hope the opponent doesn't take me off. So 1 and a 6, he managed to move 1 and then 6. Notice he didn't move 6 and then 1 because technically, even though he was able to move the total of 7, you have to do each die cleanly, and he had to do 1 and then 6. So now I've got a 6 and a 5. I could move this man 5, but then he'd be stuck because I can't move it 6. I could move this man 5 or 6, and that would keep him safe. And I could move any of these men 5 or 6, as long as it's not conflicting with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him 6, and I'm going to actually cover this man here by moving this one 5. Now it's my opponent's turn. He has a 5 and a 4. He continued to work his way around the board, moving 1 man 5, moving 1 man 4, but he did leave this exposed man here. I roll a 6 and 3. I actually didn't get him. I can't take him off. I can't move a 6, and then I can't move a 3, because if I was to move a 6, it would be there, and then 3 more would be there. I could move 3, 1, 2, 3, but then I could not move 6, again, because of that. So I'm going to move this one 6, and now I have a 3. If I move any of these 3, it would leave an exposed man, which I'm not going to do, so I'm just going to move this one 3. Black's turn. He moves a 3 and a 1 and is now safely moving his men around the board. A 6 and a 3 ties this one up because it can't move 3 and it can't move 6. So he's staying there. So I have to move 1 piece 6 and 1 piece 3. Unfortunately, the only 6 option I have is this one, because this can't move 6 because of that. This can't move 6 because there isn't 6 to move. So I have to move that 6, but I'm also going to need to move something 3, which is going to leave me exposed. I'm going to go ahead and choose to move this man 3. The reason I'm going to move this man 3 as opposed to that man 3 is the only way that my opponent can take me off is with a 1. If I was to have put this man here, then he could have not only taken me off with a 3, but perhaps he could have gotten a 2 and a 1. So there was more chances for him to take me off. He got the 5 and the 6. And now it's my turn. And it creates a situation here for me that's interesting because I can take a 2 and I can take the opponent off. But by doing so, I'm still leaving this man here exposed so that when the opponent comes back on the board with the 3, or if these guys can move 1, it leaves me exposed. I think, however, I'm going to do it. I feel like I might as well just send a 3rd man back. That'll slow him down and cross my fingers. And a lot of times I base that on how well is his home board. If he has a lot of his pieces blocking a lot of the numbers from getting on the board here, I would be less likely to take him off. So let's go ahead and see what he does. He gets on with the 4, and he has double 4s. Fortunately, he's not able to take me off. I'm going to go ahead and move a piece 4 and a piece 1 and try to clean up my act. So let's look at those options, because moving this piece here, 4 and 1, cleans that up, but it doesn't really help me here. I'm trying to clear up this man. I don't like him exposed like that. Although with all of the opponent's open men up there, perhaps I don't need to worry so much, because I have a pretty good chance to revenge him should he take me off. But what I am going to do is I'm going to move this man 4 and take my opponent off. And then since I also have a 1, I'm going to create the point by moving an additional 1. Now if my opponent rolls a 1, a 3, or a 6, he doesn't get on the board. And he rolls a 5 and a 1. He couldn't get on with the 1, so he had to get on with the 5 and move another piece 1. Now it's my turn. Let's go ahead and move this piece 3 and take him off, and then move it another 4 to continue on. He now still can't get on the board with a 1, 3, or 6, but anything else he can. And he rolled a 1 and a 6, so he was not even able to get on the board at all. His turn is forfeited because you can't move other pieces if you have a man on the bar. So now I have a 5 and a 4. I'm going to move this one 5 and this one 4. And let's see if my opponent gets on with the 5 and moves another piece 3. I was lucky enough to roll double 4s, but it's not perhaps as lucky as you think, because this can't move 4, because that would be here. So I have 4 4s, and I only have 5 possible moves that can move 4. So let's go ahead and move 1, 2, and I've got to move 2 more. As you can see, it's going to create an exposed man situation for me here. If this guy is to get a 3 or this guy is to get a 6, I'm off the board. And he rolls a 5 and a 1. So he moved 5, plus he moved 1.
He took me off the board, and I rolled a 5 and a 1. And unfortunately, both on the 5 and the 1, he has 2 of his men, so I can't get on the board, and I have to forfeit my turn. Now he gets to go again, and he's getting double 3s. So he gets to take 4 3s, and he's taking advantage of this, and he's making it actually harder for me to get on the board now. Now he's got 2 men on the 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The only way I can get back on the board is with a 2. Suddenly, this entire game is being turned around, and I'm losing.
So I've gone ahead and I've rolled. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to get on with a 2. I can't move it 1. In fact, there's very few things I can move 1. And I'm in a tough situation again, because I could take this man off. It would leave me exposed. Or I could move this one, which would leave me exposed. Or I could move this one, which would leave me exposed. I don't really have a choice, so I might as well just take off my opponent.
So my opponent rolls a 2 and a 1. He easily gets back on the board, taking me back off the board. I'm going to send another man back all the way to the beginning. Not very desirable. Now it's my turn again. I've rolled a 3 and a 4. I'm not going to be able to get back on the board. Again, I forfeit my turn. So now my opponent has rolled a 6 and a 2, and he's continuing to move his men around the board and get all of his men into the home base. He's taken me off again, which I would not consider to be very smart. Yes, I now have 2 men off the board, but all I need to do is roll a 2, and I can take him back off the board and send one of his men all the way back to the farthest quadrant. I rolled a 5 and 3. I didn't get that 2, so I actually can't get on the board. Lucky for him. So now my opponent's rolled a 6 and a 1. He's going to move 1 man 6 and 1 man 1. He didn't cover up that spot, so I have another chance to get a 2 and take him back off the board.
Now finally I've rolled a 4 and a 2. I can only put the 2 on the board, and I can't even move a 4 because I still have to get the other man off the bar before I can even move any pieces around. So I was able to take my opponent off, send him back. Can only get back on the board with a 2 or a 5 because I've blocked everything else.
He's rolled a 4 and a 5, so he'll be able to get his man back on the board with a 5, and then he has a 4 that he can move.
So now I have double 2s. I can move 4 2s. Well, the first one I can do is I can put that there since I have to. I still have 3 more 2s, so I might as well move 1, 2, and then I have 1 more 2 to go. I'm not so sure I want to take this man off the board here with a 2 because I feel like there's no advantage to it at this point. So I'm just going to move a 4th man 2.
My opponent gets a 6 and 4 and continues to advance his pieces around the board, trying to get all 15 pieces in his home quadrant. What he just needs to look out for is I have 2 men here that are ultimately going to be coming around the board. He doesn't want to leave himself exposed.
And now it gives me a 5 and a 1. I have only 1 5 to take. None of these can move 5 because there isn't even 5. I am forced to move that one 5. I can continue to move it 1 if I'd like. I think I'll leave it for a second and I'll just move that one 1.
My opponent has a 2 and a 3, and what he's done is he's moved a piece 2, but as far as the piece For 3, he's taken advantage of my susceptibility that I only have one piece there, and he's taken me back off the board again. At this point, I can only hope to take him off the board again with a 2. So I rolled a 6 and a 4, but that doesn't help me get back on the board. I needed a 2 to get back on the board, so I'm not able to do anything and just let my opponent roll again. So my opponent rolls again, and now he gets double 6s. So he's moving his pieces around. I see he's taken me off the board again. I am back to the beginning with 2 men off the board, plus, as if that isn't enough, he's also able to continue to close the board on me. I now have no ability to get either of my 2 men back on the board. It doesn't matter what I roll, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, I'm not going to get back on the board. So at this point, I don't even get to roll. I just have to watch my opponent move his men around the board and wait until there's an opening for me to roll again. He's rolled a 5 and a 2. He moves 5 and 2. He's got a 6 and a 3. There's nothing I can do. He's rolled a 2 and a 3. There's nothing I can do. Now he's rolled a 3 and a 4. There's nothing I can do. Finally, he rolled a 5 and a 6 and was able to take some men off the board, and he's opened up the 6 lane for me. So now I can roll, but the only thing I can do is hope to get a 6. The truth is, at this point in the game, from a simple strategy point of view, even if I was to come on the board with a 6, there's no way I could take him off, and I would just slowly work my way around the board, most likely lose. What I really need to hope for is to not get on the board and hope that there's a chance that he leaves a man wide open and that I can take him off, thus slowing him down, letting me catch up. It does not seem likely to happen. So I rolled double 3s, normally a really nice move, but I can't do anything about it because I need to get on the board with only 6s, and I can't get on with 3s. So my opponent will continue to take rolls off. So he gets a 4 and a 1. I see he's moved a piece 4, and then he's moved a piece 1. So even though he had a 4 and a 1, he continued to work his way by moving pieces off the 5. Now it allows me to either get on the board with a 5 or a 6. But either way, that doesn't matter. Once I come on the board with a 5 or a 6, I can't go backwards, and I'm not going to catch up by going forward. So this is becoming a losing game. So I rolled the 5. I got 1 man on the board. There's still nothing I can do until I get my 2nd man on the board, though. My opponent takes another man off the board and continues. He takes a 4, and he moves a man 2. He's playing a good game. He's keeping all of his men as covered as possible, knowing that my only hope is that he leaves an open man and I hit it coming off the bar. So I've rolled a 6 and a 1, and that's actually nearly the kiss of death for me because I have to get on the board now, and I have only one option to get on the board, and that's with that 6. And by doing so, I am past all of his men. There's no chance I can take him off the board to slow him down. So now all I can do is work my way around the board, maybe get some doubles, try to catch up and get all my men off the board before he does, which, let's face it, is not going to happen. I'll just slowly work my way around the board. At this point, it's a very straightforward game. There is no strategy except move your pieces. He takes his off. I'll move mine around, but there's no chance.
Well, I have 4 5s, which will help me a lot. I can move 1 5, 2 5s, 3 5s, and 4 5s, but I don't think I have any chance on catching up to my opponent, who already has 10 men off the board. So I'm going to move him 2 and take off a man with my 1. He moves a 6 and a 2, and honestly, I can take a 3 and I can take off a 1, but the doubles, even doubles, are not going to help me at this point because no matter what, he's going to win on the very next roll. So I'm going to move this one 3 and then take it off on the 2, and my opponent has beat me here. Now, I have so many other videos here on how a doubling cube works, best opening moves, how to take men off the board, and then the next one, which is really advanced strategies. I suggest you please keep going and continue to watch these videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe. See you in the next one.